Your Money, brought to you by the Welch Group.
Inheriting assets may provide a new level of financial security, but it may also come with some unexpected tax consequences.
Our Jonathan Skinner recently discussed the financial expert with Jay McGowan from the Welch Group on what IRA inheritors can do to save on taxes.
Last week, we sort of talked a little bit about, what happens when you have a spouse pass away. But if you're inheriting something, if it's from a spouse or from a loved one, there are some tax considerations that go with that, some things you have to think about financially. Jay McGowan again with us here. Jay, sort of what kind of things can you sort of take us through that people need to know?
Yeah, so the law changed, I believe it was back in 2020, and the new law states that if you inherit an IRA from somebody other than your spouse, now there's exclusions and things to think about, but in general, if you inherit an IRA from, let's say, a parent, a grandparent, a friend, another family member, somebody that's not your spouse, you have to deplete that account within 10 years. Okay, so that accelerates or speeds up the time frame for which you have to take that money out, which accelerates taxes and potentially causes you to have to take more out in any given year than you did in the past. So a lot of times we've been getting a lot of questions about this. People inheriting IRAs from family members. What are some things I can do to kind of limit my tax exposure, my tax liability, if I'm in that situation? And I think the first thing would be to time those distributions. So again, you have 10 years to deplete the account. If the person you inherited the IRA from was already required to take distributions, you have to take a little bit out in years 1 through 9, but it has to be depleted by year 10. So one tip that I tell everybody that inherits an IRA is look at your own income and see, are there going to be any years within the next 10 years where my income is going to be higher or lower than it is currently? And so you can time the distribution. So like, for instance, let's say that somebody inherits an IRA from their parents and they're 60 years old and they plan to retire when they're 65. Well, they're currently still working. Maybe they're making income of their own, so they're already in a higher tax bracket. So what we may plan to do is say, let's take a little bit or the minimum those first 5 years. And then when you retire, you still have 5 years where you can deplete the account, but your income is going to be lower because you're no longer working. Well, that may be a good opportunity to get those inherited IRA dollars out of that account at a lower tax rate. So that would be the first thing. The second thing I would look at is charitable giving. So if you're already charitably inclined, IRAs are a great place to give charitable gifts from if you're 70 and a half. So if you're 70 and a half and you inherit an IRA, you can give the amount, you can give distributions directly to a charity from the IRA, and it's not considered taxable income. So if you inherit an IRA from a non-spouse and you're over 70 and a half and you're charitable, that's probably one of the first places I would look to give charitably from. Let's say you're under 70 and a half and you inherit an IRA, but you're still charitable. You're still a charitable person. Well, you can look to what we call bunch gifting.
So, all right, Jay, thank you so much. And of course, if you want more of these tips, you can find them on WAFF.com under the Your Money section, as well as here every Tuesday at 4 p.m.